Jesus Freak here. And today it's not bitter cold, it's just cold. Which I could say is definitely an improvement. Get some paperwork to run off. Some paperwork for social services and some paperwork for a Section 8 type program I'm trying to get on. I gotta specifically hit the post office rather than Tops because I can't remember if Tops still has a photocopier and I need to Xerox something. I hate paperwork. It so happens that this copy of the first time they sent me a late notice over the extra rent I didn't know I owed is the only proof I really ever had in writing about it. So I wrote a little note explaining why that note was what I had and said, well, if this note and the letter from property management doesn't sufficiently explain what happened, then I don't know, I do what I can. I don't like dealing with social services. They're a bunch of jerks, really. For years, when I lived in the towers, they refused to acknowledge my change of address until I went down there with my then girlfriend, and finally they did something. But there was a whole snafu about that. Resulted in me losing my food stamps for a few years. Because I just, I was like, I can't deal with this. So, my plan for today is I'm going to run to the post office and take care of a couple things. Then I'm going to run up to the store and take care of a couple other things. Don't really have to get anything at the store, but I'm already out, I might as well. Most of it's not really going to be of any use for anything till Thursday, when I'm going to get stuffed just because, well, it's my birthday. I'm like, yeah, the whole scheme of things don't really matter, but hey. When I have a few other things taken care of, next order of business is probably I'm going to look into getting a couple more Bibles. I need more Bibles like I need a hole in the head. But I just want to have a green Bible to represent the period of the year when green is the color of the week, which is most of it. So we'll see how this goes in the end. The Nabu stuff I've been working on, Lode Runner's been coming along pretty well. I still don't really know much about the situation with that. From what I can understand, the MSX version of Lode Runner, which I chose to use because the two computers are the same chipset, even though they're incompatible. From what I understand, it was done by a company called Programmers 3, which later changed their name to Compile. The company made a name for themselves with a game called Puyo Puyo, which came over here under the name Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and they eventually sold it off to Sega. But under their original name, they also created a game called AE, which I'm guessing there was some connection, and Bruderbund said, I guess maybe Bruderbund offered to port A or sell A in the US, and Programmers 3 offered to bring Lode Runner and Choplifter over to Japan. Yes, I know Sega eventually did their arcade version, but I'm mainly referring to the MSX versions here. The guy who did the MAME emulation for the Nabu, which is technically the first Nabu emulator out there, he got Choplifter running on the MSX, running on the Nabu, the MSX version. So he also got Arkanoid running, which was one of my favorite arcade games. And now, it should support Atari paddles, which, how to handle Atari paddles on the Nabu was undocumented. Like, yeah, it was built into the system, but nobody ever explained how it worked. But now we know. It's been kind of the thing I wanted to do since I heard of the Nabu, it's like, it's got the same chipset as the MSX. The MSX got a lot of popular games, especially arcade games. So, we wanted to bring over as many arcade games as we could. I figured, because there were only a few games really ever released on the Nabu. And it's not that hard to get stuff from the MSX, why not? If we wanted, we could probably get stuff over from the ColecoVision. It's probably something a bit better known over here. ColecoVision is a different sound chip, but I've already done ports from a system that has the same sound chip. Something that's basically the same thing as the ColecoVision. So, it's all theory, Anyway, before my hand gets frostbite, Jesus, freak out.